Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
The Marquee tools in the Tools palette allow you to select basic shapes. You can create a selection that's a rectangle or an oval. Now, to make a selection using one of these tools, you can first select the type of tool that you want to use from the Tools palette. Then you just click and drag from one corner of the selection area to the other, releasing the mouse button when you're finished. So let's take a look at all the options that we have when we make a selection using the Marquee tools in the Tools palette. The first thing is you start by making sure that you have the correct image layer from which you want to make the selection selected over in the Layers panel. Let's go ahead and do this. What we've done here is we've actually placed the image of our flower on top of a white background that we created. So we're going to go over here into the Layers panel. Remember, we're going to be talking about layers in depth more, but we'll make this very simple. Right now we have just the two layers. We have our background layer, and then just above that we have our image layer. So we want to make sure that that's selected because that's where we're going to make the selection from. Then we select the desired Marquee tool that you want to use from the Tools palette. They're located right over here underneath the Hand tool. We'll give that a right click and you'll see them there. We're going to choose the Elliptical Marquee tool. Give that a click. Now next we're going to go up into the Options bar, and the first thing you need to do is choose what type of selection you want to make. Those buttons are located right here. If you roll your mouse pointer over these, it'll tell you what they are. First we have New Selection. After that we have Add to Selection. And then after that we have Subtract from Selection. And then finally we have Intersect with Selection. So you can, as you're making selections, you can choose variations of those. Right now we're going to make a new selection, so we'll just leave that selected. Next, after that, you can then click into this text box right here and choose a feathering option. And you do that by typing in pixels the width of the border that should be feathered. Feathering softens the selection border so that it isn't a clean and crisp border. Right now it's set at 30. I think we'll set that at 35, and you'll see what that does. Now, if you're using the Elliptical Marquee tool, as we are, you can also check or uncheck the Anti-Alias checkbox right to the right of that, right here. With anti-aliasing enabled, the edges of the rounded selection appear less jagged than when anti-aliasing is disabled. So we'll go ahead and leave that checked. Next, you select a mode for the selection from our mode drop-down. If you select Normal, then you'll create the selection marquee in a moment by simply clicking and then dragging. That's what we're going to do. If you select Fixed Aspect Ratio, right here, then you enter the desired height to width ratio in the height and width text boxes over here. Then when you click and drag to draw the selection, the height to width ratio entered here will remain intact as you select. If you select Fixed Size right there, then you actually enter a specific size in pixels in the height and width text boxes. You will not have to click and drag to make your selection at that point, but rather you'll just click once to create a selection and it'll create a selection of the size that you specify. We're going to go ahead and select Normal. Now, to create the selection, you just click and drag over the area that you want to select. If you hold down the Shift key as you drag the Marquee Selection tool, it will draw a perfect square if you're using the Rectangle Marquee tool, or a perfect circle if you're using the Elliptical Marquee tool. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and just click and drag, and we'll see our selection. Now, if you wish to reposition the selection after you've drawn it, remember you can just click into it and drag it around to move it around, and then release it when it's in the correct place. Now, to see what we've done, let's go ahead and go to Select and select the inverse and then click delete on our keyboard, and you'll see the type of selection we make, and you'll see what that feathering has done to make a nice soft edge around there. Now we could go up and we could clean up the selection up here at the top if we wanted to, but you'll see that by adjusting those options up in the options bar, you can really make some really neat effects.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.